All right. Hello, Kristen. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Tiffany. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. Thank you for taking the time to connect with us today. We are so excited to have you. And what we're doing is just a series of calls with some of our top advisors around the country. And you were definitely somebody that came up on the list for us. And so we just want to take a few minutes, not long, just a few minutes to kind of pick your brain and learn a little bit about you and your practice. So I guess could we just start with a little bit about you? Could you tell me, maybe where you live uh,
Mhm.
and how long you've been in the business?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I actually live in Arlington, Nebraska. So it's a small town of about 1,500 people, right outside Omaha. And I've been in the
Okay.
business a little over 15 years now. So,
Oh my gosh. And of those 15 years, how many have been with Futurity First?
yep. So going on 5 with Futurity. I spent
Okay.
the first, well, almost 6 now. Sorry, 6 years. I spent the first 9 in a captive world. Left and went to the independent world and came over to Futurity First.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
interesting. So many people have a very similar story to that. So I want to kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So since coming from the captive space
Mhm.
into our space,
Yep.
what have been some of the biggest, or what's something or some things that stick out that are the biggest enhancements to your practice, since joining FFIG?
Yep, absolutely. So honestly, the biggest thing and what kind of promoted the, I guess, move was actually I kind of felt like I was getting to a point where I was trying to put square pegs in round holes, to be as honest as possible. I was sitting working with my clients and just felt like I wasn't doing, not that I was ever doing wrong, but that there was something better out there for them. And that's what we got looking into the independent space. And that's actually really what got me looking at Futurity First specifically. Um, we're independent advisors. We have access to everything that's out there, but we still have kind of that we have that back office, which is huge to me. So coming from a captive world where I had people that could tell me, hey, here's the life insurance policy, here's the annuity you want, those type of things, that was still really important. I didn't want to be completely on my own where I had to go figure all that out. So when I learned about Futurity and learned that, okay, we have an annuity specialist on staff, we have a life insurance specialist on staff, we still have that agency system. That was so big to me because I didn't feel like I was just, for lack of better words, being thrown out to the wolves and had to figure it out myself.
Comforting, right?
Yeah, yeah, having those resources was huge, and that was probably the big thing with Futurity, and that's been so great because I can still meet with my clients. I do everything I love, but if there's something that I'm not comfortable in or something I need to learn more about, I know that I have someone on the staff that can help me with that, and that was a really big thing. I always want to make sure I'm doing best with my clients, and I feel like I can really do that here.
Yeah, I love that. And again, I've kind of heard similar things, but it's really cool to hear you say that and just speak so candidly about that. And that back office support is really, really helpful. And then in
Yep.
terms of like other pieces to your practice, what
Yeah.
about anything from like a marketing standpoint, how you've been able to enhance your practice? Specific, maybe like the selection of carriers, anything else that you can think of that's really helped you provide good solutions to your clients or get in front of
Mhm.
the right clients even.
Yeah, absolutely. One big thing too, and Futurity was big on this and really brought it. And it's interesting, I never did it before, but like the seminar marketing, that has been a huge component for me. I spent 9 years in this world and never did a seminar, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Mhm.
Um, Futurity has great resources with the next phase planning, different things, social security timing. I mean, you name it, where we can get those seminars going for clients. And that's huge. That's been a great resource for me to not only obtain new clients, but also just help my current clients. So there's so many great systems that are provided for us as well that we have access to that help just make a financial plan better for a client as well. When it comes to the insurance side of things, I mean, it's crazy. Like I said, I started in a captive world, so I had to go with everybody, the same company. Now I can go and figure out which client's going to be best. If I have a basic term policy, I know that X company is going to be the best. If I want to look at a universal life policy, I know that this company is going to be the best. So having all those resources is absolutely huge, and I never had that before.
Yes, and the autonomy and really being able to be a true fiduciary, right, for your
Correct.
client and advocate for them like that. I feel like that in and of itself is just golden, right?
Absolutely. I know that
Then,
I can show my client everything they need. So when they
yes.
have a question, and that's a big thing too, when they have a question, and I'll use long-term care for an example. Before it was all traditional long-term care. I learned that now there's all these hybrids and different things. And so I can take an asset and change it. I mean, there's just so many ways. It just my eyes were opened up to what was out in the marketplace. And now I can provide those to my clients and make sure they're educated at the very least.
Yes, and the transparency there, like between you and the relationship with your client as well. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah.
So, and then in terms of problems, we kind of already talked about this, but problems that Futurity First really kind of solve for you when coming to our platform. You kind of mentioned it.
Yeah.
You mentioned, the products that are available, the team that's available. Anything from, do you utilize any of the marketing pieces that we have, or any of the resources there you're able maybe to customize, or even just being able to have the open architecture to create your own that you weren't able to before? Anything there?
Yeah, absolutely. No, great marketing pieces. I've used quite a few of them for different things, just depending on where it is. Like I said, we've done a lot with the Social Security timing, the next phase specifically. Those have been ones we've really enjoyed and used. Even just some of the life insurance pieces, some of the retirement readiness campaigns that we have that are out there. There's so many different things we can use, which is really great. I don't create a lot of mine, but I just use what's already been provided for me. I mean, why recreate the wheel if you don't have to?
Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. I always tell advisors if they're interested in getting into the workshop space, Futurity First is the place. It's the place
So
to,
it's
uh,
huge.
yeah, it's really cool. So yeah. And then in terms of, I know that you likely have a lot of nuggets to share, wisdom from being a very successful advisor in the industry for so many years, being a female advisor in the industry, being a mom, and all the things. So
Yep.
I would love if you could share some nuggets for maybe somebody who's in the business now, but maybe sitting where you sat several years ago. They're sitting in the captive space. They're realizing, I don't know if this is the direction I want to be in, 30 years from now, kind of thing.
Yep.
What nuggets of wisdom would you share now, sitting in the place that that you're at now, being able to enhance your practice and all of the things?
Yeah, absolutely. Do it sooner versus later would be my best advice. Looking back now, I wish I would have done it so much sooner. I think some of the things that people get worried about is they have this big name behind them and they're worried that, oh, I no longer have X company and people aren't going to want to do business with me. It was the exact opposite. When I could tell people, oh, now I can go out and find the marketplace and find what's best for you, my clients completely love that. It was like a whole different ball game. They're like, oh, good, because actually I was thinking about looking at something else anyway, but we like you. So the biggest thing about Futurity and the independent space is clients are going to want to work with you and you can provide the resources to them. So I don't have a reason now that a client can't work with me. Whereas before, if even a basic term policy, they can go online and find the cheapest term if that's what a client really wants. Well, now I have access to that, but I can really educate my clients and provide them what is actually the best resource. So that would be the biggest thing. I think the other thing is people get concerned about learning all the new products. It's really easy once you get used to it, especially if you already have that experience. It's a very easy learning experience. So I would say do it sooner versus later. It'll change your practice. It has been huge for my growth for my practice, retaining clients, getting new clients. You definitely want to look at it if you haven't.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kristen. And thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And we are so thankful that you're a part of the FFIG family.
I am too.